Death was close. Then came the woman. It was beautiful.
Was home.
I am to be married.
Your wedding will end. Thor butchered my family like cattle.
See those with hell in their heart.
It's revenge I need. If I'm to succeed, I need you with me. I'll piss and we can go, yeah?
The only thing here for you is death.
Then let it claim me!
Gods killing gods would go unnoticed.
Let's get a good shot of them. That's it, Twilight of the Gods. And this review I'm going to dedicate to the great career of Mr. Paul Gerard and his lovely redheaded wife, Shell T. Fox, who's continuing to battle the cancer. Keep on battling. Because Sigrid and Leif and Sigrid always remind me of Paul and Michelle. So kudos to them. I hope Zack Snyder gets to work with Paul. That would be great. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? So I mean, if you did not like Rebel Moon, and with the Snyder cut of Rebel Moon, I kind of liked it a little bit more, but it was still not good. The problem with Rebel Moon, before we get to Twilight of the Gods, is that Rebel Moon had the sex, had the themes in it, the dark R-rated themes, but it was just too close to like CW stuff when they had the village that couldn't defend themselves. It was curbing on woke territory, like the big bad empire versus the village that can't defend themselves. I'm like, you got to have people defending that village, on that planet. You got to have warriors to guard the planet. It's just, you can't just have a village there and there's no protection against the. I'm not saying that it would have worked anyway, but it would have been something. There would have been some sort of sovereignty that the empire could not touch. Now, those first few minutes were very good in the first part of Rebel Moon, but the rest of it was kind of going back to that same I was just not happy with it. But Twilight of the Gods, what a 8-part series, okay? And this was way better than Rebel Moon. Here's your cast. I do not recognize most of these people except for John Noble as Odin, but you got Sigrid, you got who was that? Ing, Leif, Ali, Thor, Egil, Thyra. I think Freya is in there too. There's different people, different actors. I just recognize John Noble. And Jamie Chung, I think I remember her. There's different characters. So different characters. This is on sort of Greek to mostly Norse mythology. And it starts out with, what was it? Leif the merciless to Leif the merciful, right? Leif the conqueror, right? So it's Norse mythology. I guess it's in Norway. I guess it's during the Gaelic Beowulf, in between the Roman Empire fallen and just before the Renaissance stuff, right? So it's kind of like Beowulf era, which there is no Beowulf in here. I wonder what Zack Snyder thought of the Beowulf cartoon that came out in 2006. I'm sure he would have loved it. Like, yeah, it's good stuff, So this is almost like the backstory to Justice League, in which you had the world of man, you had warriors fight, right, and then you had the Atlanteans, and then you had the Amazons, and then Green Lanterns, and they all fought Darkseid. That's kind of what this feels like. It's sort of like that, not exactly, but you got these different people. So Sigrid dies, or is grabbed and pulled into the underworld, and then makes a deal with the trickster god Loki. And Thor and Loki Thor is the bad guy, and Loki's sort of the good guy. It's kind of funny because we're so used to that in Marvel, how Loki's the trickster and Thor has to be heroic and save everyone, right? And so Thor is a piece of shit. There are threesomes. There's gay sex. There's sex, regular heterosexual sex. There's all kinds of sex. Nothing too perverse. No bestiality or child. Nothing. No, nothing like that. It doesn't go too far. Zach knows where to stop the line, where the line in the sand is. Uh, I can imagine having a shower scene between Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince, but you throw Superman in there, you might as well just not come back to work Monday morning. 3-day weekend. So yeah, there are some threesomes. You got Sigrid and you got Leaf and another person. You got all kinds of characters. So there's mythology. At one point, this is a spoiler, but in episode 8, because there's 8 episodes, at one point, this sorceress here that you could see here makes Odin see the future. Like he sees the past, right? The Greek gods. He sees all these. He sees Christ in the past. He sees Christ on a cross, and then he goes to a city in the late 20th, early 21st century, and he sees a city like New York, and he sees Christ on a cross on a church with all these cars and things. So it's funny because what I find interesting about Christianity, even though I'm agnostic, is that Christianity was the downfall of the Roman Empire, the Greeks and the Romans as we had known them back then. And in some ways, I still admire those Greek gods and Roman gods because that's what people had. And we went from that to Beowulf and Norse gods, and we went from that to paintings and Shakespeare, and then eventually 19th century novelists before we went to like Superman and the old 1930s stuff, right? So it was to me it was the beginning. I mean, besides Gilgamesh, evolving into the Roman Empire, we see this again, a trend of things changing. Like we thought everybody was going to wear togas and white sheets for the rest of their lives, or orange sheets, whatever they wore back in the Roman days. And then people changed, just like the Olmecs changed and Toltecs and the Aztecs. So there was a lot of things that I saw. Eventually, Sigrid dies. Leif is without his wife, and she is taken to Valhalla with Loki, and Thor shows her around. She's now kind of friends with Thor, not really, but she's there with Thor in the afterlife in Valhalla. And the one of the warriors' brain gets. There's a lot of blood. I'm classifying this one as Goth-Metal Lore, by the way, because I think that it really has a lot of the elements of Goth-Metal Lore. There's darkness, there's blood, there's sexuality, probably more than Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger, bastard. Anyway, all those decades ago. But yeah, I think that Zack Snyder really admires those kinds of movies from the 80s. The Barbarian movies, the Red Sonjas, the Gracie Jones, Conan the Destroyer. All those movies that really were like, they took it to a dark point. Yeah, so this guy dies. This one turns into a wolf, right? I think he dies. I'm not sure. Yeah, he dies. She's gone, but she goes to hell instead of Valhalla. This guy here who gets like into threesomes and stuff, but she gets turned into a sort of a spirit. So these two have the only two that have a happy ending are this guy here and the sorceress here, the blonde sorceress. There's another warrior who has a threesome with these two, with Sigrid and Leif, but yeah, she's not in here for some reason, but she survives. Leaf survives, and so 4 of the warriors die. So you got half the warriors. So there were 8 warriors, and only half of them survive Thor's wrath. It's all about Thor and taking out Thor, because Leif and Sigrid were supposed to have a wedding with the giant ogre style, right? A giant ogre wedding, and it doesn't happen. And so Thor ruins it because he's a piece of shit. So she gathers all these warriors to fight Thor. And there's sex involved, and there's all this stuff, and it's really good. I mean, it's blood, it's chopping off arms and legs. There's all kinds of warriors of all kinds. It look like they came out of Magic the Gathering. the planeswalkers. If you think of the planeswalkers from Magic the Gathering, there's a little bit of that too. And if you think of that and you think of the stories of that, you could get into this. And I think that between Twilight of the Gods and Rebel Moon Twilight of the Gods is it. My rating, I'm going to give all the episodes a solid A. That is my mood. It is worth it. So if you have a Netflix account or if you want to see it, it's worth it to get to see this. This was more of what we wanted from Zach. It's not Justice League exactly, but it's like the old Justice League, the old Warriors, right? These are the old school Warriors that went up against Darkseid. And it was supposed to mirror what we would have seen if you look at Justice League New Frontier, where Lucy Lawless is like, fight on. She gathers the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, the police. Everybody goes and they fight this alien with all these creatures on it. She's like, Lucy Lawless says, fight on, fight with your heart, fight on. That was what we were supposed to get. The Autumn Assembly, where everybody got together, fought Darkseid and won and destroyed the ships, right? That's what was supposed to happen. But we got this. So Twilight of the Gods, very exciting. Tomorrow will be some of Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga. We'll do some gameplay, and I'm gonna do gameplay for every M&L RPG until we get to Brothership, and I'm gonna do some Zelda board gaming. And there's gonna be a mystery N64 game that I'm hoping is not a foreign card, but I have a converter. I can convert it to the US N64. So let's see what happens.